Welcome to Dark Lord Reviews Halloween Special. And today I'm reviewing The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is a 1920s silent German film. It is deemed one of the first horror films ever to exist. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is considered the quintessential work of German expressionist film, and by far the most famous example of it, and is one of the most famous German films from the silent era. And today it's the film's 100th anniversary. Well, technically I'm a couple months late from its actual anniversary, but nevertheless, I thought it was appropriate to review it this October. So, let's dive into The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. The film begins with a young man named Francis and an older man just chilling in the garden. Okay, boomer. Then a girl walks past, unresponsive as in a daze. Francis says she's his fiancée, Jane, and tells the story of how she got that way. So we flash back our way to his town of Hostenwald, where we see Dr. Caligari in his blue-tinted glory. Then we see his best friend Alan leaving his home and receives a pamphlet about a fair being in town. So he goes to Francis and convinces him to go to the fair together. They head off to the fair, then Dr. Caligari appears, wanting to talk to the town clerk. So he waits, clenching his cane with his Mickey Mouse gloves, as the town clerk is in his high chair. Caligari asks him for a permit to show his spectacle. The town clerk laughs it off and orders someone else to give him the permit. Now that's a face that says, you're gonna die tonight. At the fair, he gets people's attention for his song, Ambulus Caesar. Then the following night, the town clerk is murdered. Both Francis and Alan enter Dr. Caligari's tent to see the amazing song, Ambulus Caesar. After some people entered the tent and sat down, Dr. Caligari opens a vertical cabinet, and we see Caesar, a young man under Dr. Caligari's command, and awakes.
You are one creep, motherfucker.
And steps forward in extreme slow motion. Supposedly, he's able to predict the past and present and future. Caligari brags that Caesar can answer any question whatsoever. When Alan asks Caesar how long he has to live, he answers, until dawn tomorrow. This unsettling prediction cuts their fun short, so Alan and Francis leave, and they come across a reward poster about a murder. Then Jen arrives and the trio go home. Francis tells Alan he loves Jane and to let her choose, and whoever she chooses, they'll remain friends.
That's what they all say.
After night comes, we see Alan's room and the shadows of Alan and his killer fighting on his bedroom wall. Alan is found murdered the next morning. Francis goes to tell the police in their high chairs after he realizes Caesar's predictions has come true. Francis even tells Jane about Alan being murdered. But hey, at least she has fewer options now. Francis asks Jane's father, Dr. Olson, for help. Before the police do anything, an attempted murder of an old woman takes place, throwing the town into a panic, and the criminal gets caught. Back at Dr. Caligari's wagon, we see him feeding Caesar as he sits in his coffin. When the police knock on the wagon, asking questions, they are shown Caesar inside the coffin. And Caligari protests that he doesn't ever leave the coffin without his permission. Then the criminal confesses to attempted murder of the old lady, but not the other murder, so the police are back to investigating Alan's murder. Jane is worried about her father and goes out to search for him. She stumbles to Caligari's tent, where he persuades Jane to see Caesar. and in horror, Jane runs away. Francis goes to spy on Caligari and Caesar and sees them sleeping. However, the real Caesar creeps into Jane's bedroom, and as he lifts the knife to kill her, he doesn't. She screams and faints, and he carries her out of her house, leading the townsfolk on a lengthy chase. Caesar falls from a height to his death to end the pursuit. Francis doesn't believe it, as he was spying on Caligari and Caesar. So he and a couple policemen go to Caligari and discover a dummy in Caesar's cabinet, and that Caligari has fled. Caligari flees into an insane asylum with Francis in hot pursuit. He asks a worker if Caligari might be a patient there. The worker tells him he must go to the director of the institute for patient information. Francis goes to the director's office, and it turns out that the director is none other than Dr. Caligari. With the help of the asylum staff, Francis studies the doctor's records and diary while the director is sleeping. The writings reveal his obsession with a story of an 11th century monk named Caligari, who uses a somnambulist named Caesar to commit murders in northern Italian towns. The director attempted to understand the earlier Caligari experiments on a somnambulist admitted to the asylum, who becomes his Caesar. The director screams, "I must become Caligari," over and over again. Francis and the doctors call the police to Caligari's office. When the director arrives after being confronted with the corpse of Caesar, he goes nuts, saying he must become the new Caligari. So the staff of the institute put him in a straitjacket and confine him in his own asylum. Then we go back to the present, and Francis and the old man wander back from the garden to the institute patio. Francis sees Caesar standing in the corner, and he warns the older man not to accept one of his prophecies, for he would surely die. Jane is also there, and when Francis asks her to marry him, she says she cannot marry someone not of royal blood. Then down the stairs comes the director, and Francis quickly gets into a scuffle with him. Francis is grabbed by the staff and taken upstairs. The director comes to the conclusion that Francis is a maniac, and the director, after this revelation of sources of his patient's delusion, says he now should be able to cure Francis. The cabinet of Dr. Caligari still has a major influence over other German directors and many of the film's expressionist elements, particularly the use of setting, light, and shadow to represent the dark psychology of its characters, which became prevalent in German cinema. Among the films to use these elements were Nosferatu, The Last Laugh, Secrets of the Soul, Metropolis, and M. In addition, the film also influenced many modern filmmakers like Tim Burton and Ridley Scott. Personally, I like the dark, twisted visual style of the film, with the sharp, pointed forms, the structures, and its landscapes that lean and twist in unusual angles, the shadows and streaks of the light painted directly onto the set, and even the twist ending caught me off guard. Seriously, my mouth dropped when I saw it. Overall, a film that you should definitely check out for a good old scary time. Well, that is all for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this. Stay safe out there, and goodbye.